All right. The thing always freezes on me. Where's our overlay? There it is. Oh, Be Live decided to add some different overlays, so let's here. There we go.
Ooh, that's perfect for us.
Or that, yeah, that's even
Oh,
better.
yeah.
Yeah,
Tasty.
yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. Ooh,
Ooh,
artsy.
very.
Forget all that. All right. Welcome everyone to Kiss Meets the Podcast 4K, the Crazy Crazy Kiss Countdown. You wanted the best. I am one of your hosts, Eli Clausen, and Girl Scout cookies have arrived, which is bad news for me. I'm trying to lose weight.
Yes, that sucks. And I am Luke Neely, and I am not trying to lose weight, but maybe I should.
So we are back again. It feels like it's been quite a while, even though it's only been a week, but definitely a lot to catch up on. We have the finale of the previous poll, Best Kiss song, of course. If you guys didn't happen to see that on the page, we're going to update you right here. And then, of course, our next round with the live stuff is already into its second week, so we definitely have a lot to catch up with that as well. And then, of course, this week's album is Hot in the Shade, which, of course, is another one that gets a lot of hate and probably more hate than it gets love, to be honest. But, definitely, one of the longer albums in the discography, clocking in with, 15 songs. And, there's definitely a hodgepodge of stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how this album plays out this time with everyone's rankings. And, if the guys from Kiss and Tell show up, they're going to be sure to trash it the whole time. So.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So what's new? Anything?
Oh, this, that,
Yeah,
here, there,
and
everywhere.
everything else.
Yeah.
So, well, let's just get on into it because, again, we have a lot to catch up with and then get moving with this long album here.
Indeed. This week's album, of course, being Hodge and the Podge. All right. So let's get into some comments. We did get a few new comments. Going back to Creatures of the Night episode, which, man, that doesn't... It feels like forever ago, and also I just saw that that's the episode we talked about, the Kiss 2020 Goodbye concert, and that doesn't seem right because that doesn't feel that long ago.
Right, yeah.
Very strange.
New Year's Eve already, again, feels so long ago.
Yeah. Wow.
Here we are, pretty much mid-February already. It's crazy.
It is. So we got a new comment from Robbie Stars. Robbie says, I've been listening to Creatures a lot lately. I went a few weeks not listening to Creatures, giving it a rest, but now I can't stop playing the CD. It's heavy and a timeless masterpiece. Hey guys, crank this album up to 10 and change my rating to a 10. Possibly the best album in the catalog.
There you go, man. Absolutely. Crank it all the way.
Yeah. Nice. Let's see. We also had a new comment on the Asylum episode from a couple of weeks ago. Thomas, Rain in Adamstown, comments, what a wonderful album. 9 perfect songs and the OK Radar for Love. I give it a 9. Love the cover. The guitar work of Bruce Kulick is fantastic, and Eric Carr rules again. Maybe the best production of all Kiss albums. He also gave us his top 3, which were Any Way You Slice It, Secretly Cruel, and King of the Mountain.
Very cool. Nice to hear from you, Thomas. I feel like we haven't heard from him in a while.
Yeah. All right. So we get to Crazy Nights, the episode from a couple of weeks ago, the last episode. Got quite a few comments here, and Anthony X has written us his sequel novel to Kiss My Black Ass in the comments. So no, I'm kidding. But it's definitely good to hear from Anthony. Our first comment comes from Ronnie Parker. Ronnie says, for me, Crazy Nights is one of my least played albums. I do think there's a few songs on the album that are okay. I will play it to keep it fresh in my memory. It was the first album they released when I started high school in 1987, so I have sentimental feelings for it. I will say the song Crazy Nights really was a catchy song. I remember kids in school would sing the line Crazy, Crazy Nights. Keep rocking, Space Ace Ron.
Oh yeah, man. Thanks.
Absolutely.
I got to say,
Anthony,
your videos never look so smooth until you're in the studio now.
of course, yeah, yeah.
We're in
The
4K this week, people.
yeah, look at that. The studio's internet is
And as you say that, we lost your audio. There you go.
jeez. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So setup has moved back to the studios so that we can begin tracking drums for Afterwinter's new album. And unfortunately, I no longer have two screens. So yeah, hopefully the audio loss won't be a big thing again. Okay, so Anthony's comment. Anthony says, "Love Gun and Creatures are songs I normally skip, but of the two, I like Creatures better. But I believe that Love Gun is the superior song, and in this case, should win." So Anthony's talking about our polls there.
Yeah.
Is he correct? Was he right?
Mm.
We'll find out in a minute. He also says, "Crazy Nights is my third favorite Kiss album of all time. Not only do I think this album has aged very well, but I think it's aged better than a lot of the albums in the Kiss catalog. But to this day, from the songs and look of the era, I don't get the alleged Bon Jovi comparison. It's my second favorite album of Bruce's solos. He has a bluesy feel to his playing, and he kills it on I'll Fight Hell to Hold You and Thief in the Night. To this day, I still don't understand why this album wasn't bigger commercially. I was there and experienced Crazy Nights as it was happening. Reason to Live was constantly played on MTV. I think of all the Kiss albums, Crazy Nights had the best videos, also good commercial songs to match where other Kiss album videos were a hit and miss. But all three Crazy Nights videos were bright, colorful, and had the Kiss logo standing tall, but it still wasn't enough to compete with other bands of the era. This should have been a big era for them, but it just didn't happen. But I've always said if Heart would have released Reason to Live in '87, it would have definitely been a massive hit for them. By the way, Reason to Live is my favorite Kiss ballad."
Yeah, that's a good point. He's probably hitting the nail on the head there. A band like Heart, they were hot at that time again. They were kind of having their second, stroke of luck there, and it probably would have been a huge hit for a band like them.
Absolutely. Anthony also says, "Also, the Crazy Nights Philadelphia show is one of my favorite Kiss concerts. The whole show is on YouTube. 5 years ago, Philadelphia, yeah. 5 years ago, I would have given this album a 7. In 2021, I give it a 9. His top 3 are Reason to Live, I'll Fight Hell to Hold You, and Hell or High Water." He also says, "My true confession is I always thought the intro to No 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 was good but overrated. It's not that serious. My second true confession is I've always thought Sword and Stone sounded a little corny, and I'm glad it didn't end up on the album." Interesting.
I'll definitely have to look up that concert. I'm not sure if I've seen that or not, or if maybe that's the one that's on Kissology. I can't remember. I feel like we had talked about that, but
right, that does sound familiar. Definitely gonna have to check that out. Got some comments from Thomas Rain in Adamstown. Thomas says, "Animalize Live Uncensored has to be on your live album challenge."
I wish it was, man. I wish that was an official release.
Yeah, if they had put that out as an official CD release, it definitely would have been good.
Yeah, that probably should have been a live 3 right there. Something around that time.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Thomas also says, "I hear a big difference between the original LP, a very thin sound, and the remastered version, which has much more power." Talking about Crazy Nights, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And then also he says, "Dynasty and Crazy Nights are the 2 biggest Kiss albums in Europe. I Was Made for Loving You, Crazy Crazy Nights, and God Gave Rock and Roll to You Too, the 3 songs on mainstream radio. A very good album, but a little too polished. The vocals on My Way are too high. Time Traveler and Sword and Stone," and then about 1,000 question marks. He says, "I give the album an 8. Schweinfurt 88 is still my favorite Kiss concert. No show, only rock and roll." He also gave us his top 3, which were Crazy Crazy Nights, Turn on the Night, and Thief in the Night.
Yeah, that's such a good show. especially the outdoor shows and something about with Kiss, because I just feel like that's something, to me is like sort of a rarity, especially for the older days of Kiss, is seeing an outdoor show, and
and brightly lit just in the daytime.
Yeah. And, I know there's photos where they played an outdoor show like in 75 or something. And it's like, oh, man, if video ever existed of that somewhere, I would love to see that, too. That would be so cool to see. But
absolutely.
Yeah, I love that Schweinfurt or whatever you said show, because that's where they accidentally show what's his name on keyboards.
Yeah.
And he's kind of giving the camera a look like, get off me. Get off me.
You're on the wrong dude. Yeah. I love it. I hope we haven't absolutely butchered Schweinfurt, by the way. I have no idea if that's how you pronounce that.
Right, yeah. If we have any German listeners, please let us know.
Yes.
Or wherever that's at.
Absolutely. Let's see. We also got comments from Robbie Stars. Robbie gave us his ratings for Hot in the Shade, which I have put in here. His top 3 are Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell, Love Me to Hate You, and Betrayed. He says, Hot in the Shade has some really fun songs, and I have always loved the album. Read My Body is absolutely the best Kiss song in their catalog, and I listen to it as much as Wang Chung's Dance All Days and Thomas Dolby's She Blinded Me with Science.
Yeah, those are cool songs.
Read My Body is pretty far down on his list. I'm guessing that was sarcastic.
Yeah, probably, but hey, those are cool songs, though.
Yeah. Yes. He also says Silver Spoon sounds and reminds me of an 80s version of Tomorrow and Tonight, especially with the Kissettes making an appearance again on it. These 2 songs are horrendous on the album. That answers that question. The rest of the album is super. I'll give it a 7.5.
Oh, don't worry. We'll talk more about the Kissettes when we get to that.
Yes. Robbie also has another comment. He says, I love and respect Chuck's passion for Crazy Nights. I know a few people that love it also.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, again, one of them albums that I think a lot of it comes down to the production quality is one reason people kind of shy away from it. And I think that's part of the reason with this album, to be honest, too. I mean,
right.
Some people will probably say that. Some people will probably say no. It's the songs, So you're going to get different answers, which is great because again, that's what we like to hear. So.
Yep. One final comment here we have from JL Johnny's Jeep Life, which is a surprisingly hard name to say. I didn't expect that looking at it. JL Johnny's Jeep Life. Good to hear from you, buddy. JL Johnny says, neither one of these are the best Kiss song. It is easily Shock Me, and Eli is right. Love Gun is a better song over Creatures, but I Still Love You from Creatures is better than Love Gun.
That's a tough one too, because I do like the studio version of I Still Love You more than I like the studio version of Creatures, but I don't know, man. There's something still about Love Gun that's a little bit more special to me. It's that solo, man. Just sounds so perfect.
Yeah. I struggled a lot in this tournament with the idea of my favorite Kiss song versus the best Kiss song.
Right.
Definitely 2 different things. We talked last week about I voted for Creatures over Love Gun. And that's because I personally like Creatures better than Love Gun. But is it the better Kiss song? I don't know about that.
Yeah. And I found myself starting to do that with this new live stuff. I'm like, oh, that song, I like this song better than that one. But then I'm like, wait a minute, no, it's this version of the live song, not because there'll be other versions. So whatever version off this one versus what it was up against. No, this really is the better version, even though I don't necessarily like it. But compared to that, yes, it is the better version, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, we are definitely going to come up against the idea of versions with this live tournament more than anything else. Because, I wondered, based on the results we got in this week from the first rounds, the first 6 matches, if people were just voting on their whichever song they liked better, or if they were really paying attention to, Alive 4 versus Kiss Rocks Vegas, or Alive 3 versus Alive 1. It's definitely more about which version of the song we're talking about,
Right.
more than just like, oh well, I like Deuce better than Shout It Out Loud. Like,
Yeah. And hey, if you're one of those people that you do enjoy Vegas and all the kind of newer live stuff more than the original, hey, that's fine. That's your opinion. That's we respect it. So it's going to be
absolutely.
it's going to be interesting to see if some of those versions do beat out some of those, like from the first 2 or even 3 Alive albums. If some of these newer ones kind of beat it out. So you said we're going to run into virgins, huh? Cool.
Virgins, yeah.
Sweet.
Yes. Definitely get in there and vote too, because of course, your average Kiss fan is probably going to put anything from Alive 1 or 2 above anything else.
Right.
So we definitely want to see fair contests for Alive 3, Alive 4, the Millennium Concert, Kiss Rocks Vegas, and Unplugged. So if you're one of those that absolutely adores some of the later ones, definitely make sure you get in there and your voice is heard. These votes are not rigged. Get in there and vote on them.
Yeah, once again, absolutely not rigged. As I'm sure when you guys hear about the finale of the last poll, if that don't tell you it's not rigged, then I don't know. I don't know how we can convince you if you don't believe it.
Yes. So, guys, if it so happens that you are brand new to Kiss Meets the podcast, you should definitely, well, first off, please subscribe right here down below on YouTube. We are working on getting as many subscribers as we can. We just recently surpassed 300, which is awesome. Thank you guys so much for the support. We really appreciate every one of you that watches these episodes. Another really cool thing that you can do that has to do with us that we would really like you to get involved in is our Kiss Song tournaments. Now, right now, these are only happening on Facebook. So if you have a Facebook, jump over there, search Kiss Meets the Podcast. You can like our Facebook page. Right around the time of the elections last year, Facebook did something weird with polls and disabled them on general Facebook, but you can still do them if you're in a group. So also search Kiss Meets the Podcast group. You do have to request access, but we approve everybody, so don't worry about that. Request access, get in this group, and get in on our tournaments because they are super exciting. It pits some of the weird Kiss songs against some of the generally liked Kiss songs, and we see what wins. So let's talk about our Kiss Studio Song Tournament, which wrapped up after probably more than a year a couple of weeks ago. Absolutely insane to see some of that stuff. It was awesome to see who all voted. Here, there, and everywhere around the first round, people were giving us all sorts of crap about which songs were paired up against other songs. It truly was random. But we came down to the final round, which you've already heard us talk a little bit about in this episode, which ended up being the studio version of Love Gun versus the studio version of Creatures of the Night, which already not what either of us expected to be the final two. And we now have the winner. Now, if you're already in that group, you already know which song won. We announced it a couple of weeks ago, or maybe last week. Actually, yeah, I guess it would have been last week. But in case you didn't see or you're brand new, Creatures of the Night won. So, woo!
Yes, Creatures. I don't necessarily agree with that, but hey, you guys voted. That's the ultimate thing that counts. So, again, for those of us that don't agree with that, that's why we reiterate, please spread the word. Let's get as many possible people voting on this stuff as we can so we can get some real, some even better results and, make these more of a battle, especially with this live stuff because, you may see, I'm just throwing this out there, I have no idea, but you may see like God of Thunder versus God of Thunder pop up, but obviously they're from 2 different live albums, so which version is going to be the best, you know what I mean? So that I feel like this live stuff's going to be even more interesting, but hey, I can't hate. Congratulations to Creatures. It is a great song. It is from my favorite album, but so even though I'm not exactly the biggest fan of the studio album, it is still cool. But hey, Creatures of the Night, who would have thought? On paper, it seems like, Rock and Roll All Night would have been in the top, 5 or even in the finals. I was kind of pulling for Deuce there, the way it started looking, but hey.
Right. Yep, absolutely. I'm excited to see that song because I love that song. It says to me that we have a very eclectic fan base that doesn't only care about the hits, which is awesome to see.
Yeah.
But,
Interestingly enough, I just wanted to kind of bring up, kind of related to what we just did, and the Classic Rock Kiss magazine. They did a top 40 songs, and apparently it was voted on by the people. So, in their poll, Detroit Rock City took number 1. So there you go. Just again showing the differences, and Deuce actually came in number 2. So there you go with that.
Nice.
And if I'm not mistaken, Creatures of the Night came in number 26. So there you go. Different polls from different sources. You're going to have different results every which way, and that's what makes it cool. Because when I saw this list of the top 40, and like now it makes me want to sit down and listen to these songs in this order of, just for the hell of it. I love just finding excuses to listen to different variations of Kiss mixes or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So yeah. So again, congrats to Creatures.
Right. And it did have some pretty tough competition. Obviously, it had every single Kiss studio song in the entire discography. But looking at our top 5, actually, so Creatures won. Love Gun would have come in second place. Deuce would have been in third, and then we would have had Detroit Rock City in fourth and God of Thunder in fifth. So all songs, actually, the songs in second, third, fourth, and fifth place, I would have said any of those would have been number 1.
Yeah,
more than Creatures. So definitely super cool to see Creatures win over all of those.
I don't know if you happen to have how far of the list you kept track, but if we had like our top 40, I'd almost be interested to have that too, just so I can play that version too down the road after I do
I'll
this.
have to check that out. Yes, definitely.
But adding on the Creatures, I gotta say, for me, okay, best costumes. I mean, probably my favorite costumes out of the history. And again, next to Love Gun, I love the Love Gun costumes right there too. So yeah.
Right. So don't be worried, guys, if you're brand new and you're excited about the idea of a Kiss tournament. Don't be worried that we're talking about it just ending. We've just started a brand new one, and this time we are focusing only on live albums, official live releases from Kiss. So we took the track listings of Alive, Alive 2, Alive 3, Alive 4, the Millennium Concert, MTV Unplugged, and Kiss Rocks Vegas. I know those were not in order, so hopefully none of you are in OCD mode there. But those 7 releases, every track from those, and I believe I even included a couple of area exclusive tracks. Some of the track listings weren't the same from area to area, so I just threw it all in there.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be another long haul. It's not going to be as long as the studio versions, obviously, but already some really interesting matchups appeared. Again, guys, and whether you're new or not, the matchups were randomly generated. So hopefully we can just immediately quell anybody who, these 2 songs don't make any sense. This would have been a way better match. We didn't preconceive any of this. It was all randomly come up with. That seemed the most fair way to do it. So we did post the first 6 matches last week. I have the results here, and we'll talk about what I just posted just earlier today. It's going to be the polls are going to be open for a week. You can get in there and vote on those right now. So our first 6 matches. The first one was Rock Bottom from Alive versus Watching You from Alive.
And there
kicking
you go,
things off
starting
right
off
away.
with a very tough one. Yeah.
Live. Yes. Watching You takes this with 68%.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I can get behind that. The next one, we go from Alive to the other end of the spectrum. We had Deuce from Alive 4 versus Do You Love Me from Kiss Rocks Vegas.
And then you have to remember Deuce was without the symphony because they did it during the regular set. So you got to factor that in.
Absolutely. We had a pretty unanimous agreement on this. Deuce with 92% of that vote.
And that was up against what again? I'm sorry.
Do You Love Me from Vegas.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do enjoy that version of Deuce on there.
Yeah, I like the Vegas concert a lot, but for me, that one did kind of come down to I think Deuce is just generally a better song than Do You Love Me, regardless of the version.
Yeah,
personally. We also had Tomorrow and Tonight from Alive 2 versus I Love It Loud from Kiss Rocks Vegas. And this one, Tomorrow and Tonight, took it with 73% of the vote.
Yeah, for me, I'm a little on the fence because Tomorrow Tonight wasn't obviously a truly live performed song, and but I get it. It's if it was like well, again, we're talking say a Live 3 version of Love It Loud, it probably would have won. So
yeah. We also had 2000 Man from the Millennium Concert versus Watching You from Alive 3. Yes, definitely a toughie there. Watching You wins for the second time this week with 60%.
Damn. Because I could be wrong, but I feel like that's the only time 2000 Man has a chance, unless you want to count the unplugged version. But
right, yeah, I think it is in here from Unplugged as well. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. We got Strutter from Alive versus Lick It Up from the Millennium Concert. Thankfully, we were all pretty decided that anytime Peter and Ace play no makeup songs, it's a disaster. Strutter wins with 91%.
Good.
Yes. And then finally from last week, we had Making Love from Alive 2 up against the Star Spangled Banner from Alive 3. Making Love took that with 87%.
Good. Making Love's one that I'm going to say right now is going to definitely be in my top 5, if not, finals for me.
Nice.
What's up, Harry?
How's it going? All right, guys. So real quick before we... Oh, Jay.
Hey, what's what, man? It's been a while.
How's it going? Good to see you, man.
I was so startled I had a speech impediment there.
Yeah. I switched mid-sentence. I was so excited. Okay, so real quick before we get into the album review, guys, again, jump over to Facebook and search Kiss Meets the Podcast group. Request access to get in there so that you can vote on these. What you can vote on right now, these polls were just posted not maybe an hour ago, and this poll will be open all week. The 6 matches you can vote on right now: Ladies Room from Alive 2 versus Black Diamond from the Millennium Concert. Psycho Circus from Kiss Rocks Vegas versus Shout It Out Loud from Alive 4.
Hey, Savannah.
Oi. God of Thunder from the Millennium Concert versus Shout It Out Loud from Alive 2. Parasite from Kiss Rocks Vegas versus Love Gun from Alive 2. I Just Wanna from Alive 3 versus Deuce from Kiss Rocks Vegas. And finally, Shout It Out Loud from Kiss Rocks Vegas versus Rock and Roll All Night from Alive. I think we all know that one. Which one's going to win?
So again, like you were saying, you threw in some extra things based on, for example, Alive 3, the Japanese version has Take It Off. So that's included?
It should be, yeah.
Okay, cool, yeah. So in case anyone didn't catch that. And again, yes, these are totally random, not predetermined. I don't even know what the matchups are until he posts them on the page every Friday. It's always kind of a exciting thing for me just to see what the new matchups are. And voting. So yeah, I mean, we don't. It's definitely not predetermined. So let's please not have that going on again like we did at the beginning of the last tournament.
Absolutely, yes. And I can tell you, it's interesting to see sometimes what the random number generator comes up with,
Yeah.
how odd some of these matchups are. I won't tell you what they are. I've already told Eli, actually. This is the only matches he knows already. But there's two. There's two separate matches in here that blew my mind that they came up randomly. And one of those were like my top two songs to win, and they're against each other in the very first round.
Oh
So
no.
that's annoying. That's annoying, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, we were already saying like, well, hopefully there'll be another one of those second chance rounds,
Yes,
because we're definitely going to be cutting out some heavy hitters right away. So
yes. All right, so you ready for album info?
yeah, let's get into this album. So Hot in the Shade.
Yeah, all right. Hot in the Shade is the 15th studio album by Kiss. Hey, I wonder if that's why they did 15 songs. This album was released October 17th, 1989, and recorded from July to August 1989. This was recorded at the very, very small studio, The Fortress, in Hollywood, California, produced by Paul Stanley, and Gene's name is on there too for some reason. This is the first Kiss studio album since The Elder to feature a lead vocal from someone other than Paul or Gene. Kind of an interesting thing you may not think about all the time. How many 80s albums are just Paul and Gene lead?
Yeah.
We got a lot of really interesting little bits about this album. This is, of course, the first time Eric Carr has a lead vocal on an album. Tommy Thayer co-wrote Betrayed and The Street Giveth and the Street Taketh Away. Of course, he would end up becoming a member of Kiss in 2002 and is still a member. Forever, for some reason, co-written by Michael Bolton. A very, very strange thing. If you guys have ever seen the music video for Rise to It, you'll know that this was the first time Paul and Gene got into makeup and costume.
We have to bring that up, huh?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And of course,
Yeah,
Tiny Tim co-wrote "Read My Body."
Yes. I noticed something on here. I had to have seen this before, but it's never clicked for me until now. Several of these songs were co-written by Vinnie Poncia.
Wow.
Yeah. And that is not a name we've seen, of course, since Dynasty and Unmasked. Very strange to see his name here. And like I said, I've never seen that before. It never clicked before for some reason.
Hey, Chief Broken Arrow, what's up, man?
Hey.
Yeah, lost you.
Back yet? Still nothing? There we are. All right.
And from what I understood, I thought they kind of didn't have the greatest of a relationship with Vinnie Poncia after Dynasty and all that, at least from some interviews I read recently.
Interesting.
Of course, maybe they're saying that now, but back then they still liked him or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, and it wasn't just the Paul songs. There's Paul and Gene songs that have him. So very interesting.
Chief Broken Arrow says not that great of an album, but a very great tour. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
A lot definitely was a good tour. A lot of people that was their first Kiss show, from what I hear.
Yeah, and the first time that they had played a lot of their '70s songs in forever.
Yeah,
and they did them really well. So for personnel on this, a few surprises. We got Paul Stanley, of course, rhythm guitar, vocals, the slide guitar part on Rise to It, and acoustic guitar on Forever. Gene Simmons, bass guitar, vocals, rhythm guitar on Cadillac Dreams. We've got Eric Carr, drums, percussion, backing vocals, lead vocals, and bass guitar on Little Caesar. Bruce Kulick, who did lead guitar, backing vocals, all the guitars on Little Caesar, and bass guitar and acoustic guitar on Forever. We got Phil Ashley, who did keyboards on Hide Your Heart and Forever. Pat Regan, who did bass on Cadillac Dreams. I believe Pat Regan was the bassist of Fraley's Comic.
That was John Regan.
John Regan, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Pat. I saw Regan confuse me.
Wonder if there's any relation.
Yeah, you got to wonder. Charlotte Crossley, Valerie Pinkston, Kim Edwards Brown all did backing vocals on Silver Spoon. That's Eli's highlight of the album. Kevin Valentine, drums on You Love Me to Hate You and King of Hearts. Of course, he would go on to play most of the drums. Yeah, and most of the drums on Psycho Circus, the same guy.
Wow.
Yeah, didn't expect that one and not necessarily happy to see it either.
No.
Yeah. And then Tommy Thayer, who played electroacoustic guitar on Betrayed and The Street Giveth and The Street Taketh Away, the two he co-wrote. This album did get up to number 29 on the U.S. Billboard Pop Albums chart and has been certified, you guessed it.
I love gold.
That's right, certified gold. Platinum in Canada, only gold in the U.S.
Gold. I love gold. Love gold. I love gold. Love gold. Love gold.
Sorry. I love it.
The Crazy Crazy Kiss Countdown, now on skipping record.
It's the highlight of my week. Give me a break. Cut me some slack here. All right, 15 songs. Let's get into her. So, of course, we start off with Rise to It. This one is number 6 for me. Again, a very different beginning to a Kiss album that was not expecting. This time, after things like, Creatures and Animalize, Asylum, the types of just balls of the wall beginnings we had. This one, we get a blues riff to start with, which we totally did not expect. But still not bad. I've always kind of enjoyed it. And then once the song kicks in, it's just another sort of ballad, not a ballad, but more like an anthem-y type of song, of course. Upbeat, kind of, whatever. It puts you in a decent mood to hear it. Talking about that damn video, though, I cannot stand. I don't know why they chose to do that whole makeup scene at the beginning. And, at the time, it was like almost kind of cool. Like, oh, they put the makeup back on. But then when you look at it now and you realize the makeup looked horrible. The costumes barely fit them. They, especially Gene, mismatched his costume completely. And then the whole thing where, why didn't they include Eric in that with his makeup? And they had this guy sitting there that was supposed to be Peter. You don't even see his face or anything. And anyway, I don't know. But so, and then when they would play this song live, Paul would always do that rap where they were so-called experimenting with, doing a little jam, and it would turn into this like bluesy jam and basically the intro to this song, and then they would go into it. And I don't know. That was cool to hear a few times, but then even that gets a little cheesy after you hear that a few times, and trying to play it off as like, we're gonna try something. Check this out, that kind of thing. But other than that, I mean, it's a cool opener. It's just I'm so used to it that to me, no other song really would make a better opener. I'm just so used to hearing this in that spot.
For sure. And you know what? Like, if you cut the makeup bits out of that video, it's a good video. The makeup bits, they don't even have anything to do with the video. So,
and again, that's just kind of what overshadows it, especially nowadays. Is that's kind of all everyone really talks about because it was so bad.
Right. It's so weird. Yeah, so Rise to it's actually number 2 for me. Definitely a very interesting way to start the album. And yeah, I agree. I think they picked the right one to kick it off. I think Betrayed maybe would have been okay as an album opener, but for me, this one it just has a really exciting energy to it without being really fast paced. I usually like a good fast paced, energetic
Mhm.
kick in the face to start the album, and they managed to still capture that feel without it being really fast. And I also feel like this song does a pretty good job summing up the general feel of the album. This album is very different from all the other 80s albums, and this song tells you right off the bat, yo, this isn't Crazy Nights. There's going to be some keyboards, but it's not going to be dominant. This
Right.
isn't Asylum, but it's still heavy. It's just heavy in a different way. Uh, and then you got, like you said, the kind of the anthem-y feel of it. There's going to be a lot of sing-along-y uh, harmony vocal bits.
Yeah, absolutely. Richie Slon says this album is so bad it makes Monster sound like Led Zeppelin 4.
Wow. I honestly could not disagree with you more. Wow.
So moving into track 2, which Luke kind of mentioned a minute ago, Betrayed. So this comes in at number 5 this time, and finally we get a Paul and Gene track to trade off instead of 3 Paul songs like Crazy Nights. Yeah, I agree. I've always enjoyed this song too. It's I've always kind of liked what Gene's talking about, about pay your taxes, blah blah blah, and life's a bitch, all that stuff. But I tell you what, this time when I was listening to it, I don't know why I don't recall ever catching it every other time I've heard this song, but I noticed towards the end of the song where Gene is trying to hit those high notes, and I'm just like, oh no, like it's almost like because it's going to come up again in this album. Well, that'll get pointed out, and it's almost like because we were talking about how good Paul's voice sounded on Crazy Nights with a lot of those songs. It's almost like Gene was trying to like, okay, well, you can do that, I can do it too. Watch this, and then he tries to do it on a couple songs on here, and it just doesn't work. And it I'm not gonna say it ruins this song for me because it's just more towards the end, but it kind of like put a bit of a damper, like because it is a pretty decent song, and then hearing him doing that towards the end, I'm just kind of like, oh no, come on, please.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's number 5 for me as well. Again, just the track listing, I think they nailed the beginning here because this was a really good offset to Rise to It. It's a strong and exciting Gene song right after the strong and exciting Paul song. I think the background vocals in the chorus are my favorite part of the whole thing when they're saying Betrayed.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the high note at the end, the one in this song doesn't bother me as much as some of the stuff later on, but it definitely brings to the front the first of many examples of this album is just polished up demos.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gene could have nailed that high bit if he had taken it 1 or 2 more times,
Right. But I don't know, his register is not near what Paul's was.
No, definitely not.
Rise to It is Paul Stanley with Tom Kiefer envy. He wanted to sound like Cinderella. All right, next is Hide Your Heart, of course. Probably the second most popular song off the album, I would say. But pretty much all Kiss fans know this one. Of course, we talked in the past about how Ace did a version of this as well on the Trouble Walkin', and then even Bonnie Tyler did a version as well. But anyway, for the Kiss version, oh, what's up? It's Carolina Hard Rock, man. What's up?
How's it going?
Good to see you, man. It's been a while. But Hide Your Heart comes in at number 3 for me. I mean, it is what it is. I've always enjoyed this. I know it's a little bit of different vibe, but to me, it's almost kind of in the same vein as like Tears Are Falling for me. Like it's always kind of had that same kind of similarity. Yeah, I love the story and the vocals. The chorus is catchy. The ah 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 thing, and yeah, it's cool, and it's another cool little Bruce solo. It's definitely a catchy solo. You can kind of find yourself humming it after listening to that song. So yeah, it's another solid song. I kind of wish they would do this one a little bit more often than like maybe Tears Are Falling nowadays, but I'm just glad they have pulled it out in recent years.
Very true. Yeah, this was number 10 for me, and let me tell you, this might have been the hardest song on the album to find a spot for, because I really wanted to put it higher than 10. I ended up putting it lower just because it's generally one I don't listen to a lot, and it's because I used to play it a ton. So it became overplayed and therefore doesn't quite hold the same interest as some of the other ones. However, I just cannot deny how good of a song it actually is. This was definitely a great choice for a single. And I'm glad that this was on this album and not Crazy Nights, because they wrote it and demoed it for Crazy Nights, and this was another one that Ron Nevison said, nah, pass.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in this case I'm glad, but I'm glad they recorded it. Unlike Sword and Stone and Time Traveler, I'm glad they recorded it later. They should have done it with all three, but I feel like the production style of this album fits this song better than the production style of Crazy Nights would have. I'm not sure this would have been as big a hit if it had been on Crazy Nights, but yeah, again, I'm not at all happy that I put it at number 10, but some of the other songs on the album just have a bit more interest for me.
Mm-hmm. I think another thing with this song is, again, with the story and the lyrics, it always kind of obviously reminded me of like Living on a Prayer in a way, with that, because, you got the names of the characters, and, they were definitely released in, right around the same time of each other, within a couple years or so.
Right.
And of course I was a pretty big Bon Jovi fan for that Slippery When Wet and New Jersey album. That was really the only two albums that I was, really big into them. And then after that, I kind of started losing, yeah, they had a few good songs, but yeah, I think that was another reason that I kind of, really had that extra love for Hide Your Heart as well. Was it just kind of reminded me of Living on a Prayer in a way. All right. Next is Prisoner of Love. This one came in at number 9. Now, I again, this is another one that we get Gene trying to do those high notes at the end, but I wanted to at least give a good thing about it. I did enjoy the drum and guitar break that happened. I thought it was cool how the bass dropped out, and really it was just Bruce and Eric jamming. Probably Paul too, but and then the bass, I like how it came back in right at the end of that, and then song took off again. So I'll at least give it that much credit, even though it came in at number 9 for me. But yeah, there's again just Gene with those high notes again is what kind of killed it.
Yeah. Yep. This is number 4 for me this time. This is one of the big underrated songs of the album for me personally. This one I've always loved. This is one I went back to a lot when I first discovered this album. I love the feel of it, that bouncy, syncopated rhythm, almost a bluesy type of thing that they managed to turn into a rock song. The execution is perfect. I love Gene's vocal harmonies. You guys know that I love a good vocal harmony, and there's quite a few of those on this album. Really tight, cool harmonies. The yeah on this is right up the alley. The chorus is wildly catchy, but yeah, the high vocals at the end on this one, I think, way worse than Betrayed. They feel so strained.
Yeah, 100%. Catching up on a few comments real quick. Richie says Betrayed is the only decent song on the entire album. He says it would have fit better on Carnival of Souls. And then he also says it's bad when Bonnie Tyler does a better version of a song than Kiss.
Wow.
Chief Broken Arrow says the only show that he left early. He won tickets to a private Slaughter show. After they opened for Kiss, they played at a local club, filmed it for their home video. He left after 4 Kiss songs so they could get to the club.
Hmm.
And
That's
then
surprising.
I see Carolina gave us his top 3 there. So go ahead and give us your full list there if you could, man, Scott. So we'll get those counted in. All right. Next is the ever popular Read My Body. And this came in at number 12. What needs to be said about it? It's the cheesy goodness of 80s Paul, typical sex song. The intro always cracks me up with the little, it's like an electronic cowbell. It's like not even a real cowbell. Yeah. So, read the lyrics, and that'll tell you enough right there, just how hokey and magnificently weird that this song is. Number 12.
Yes, totally agree. This was 12 for me also. And yeah, how often do you get 2 different cowbells in a Kiss song too? I mean, wow. Two different, wow. And it's such a kick in the pants because this is such a cool riff and the chorus is catchy. And normally hokey lyrics in a Kiss song, that's not anything new, and it's not usually a big problem, but I think it's how committed Paul is to the ridiculousness of the metaphor. The extra read about it. Come on, Paul. Something about this is far worse than "Come on, lick my candy cane" and "I want to put my log in your fireplace." and I suspect that it's just because it's not a one-off line where you're like, really? It's the whole song. It's the whole song. They are 100% dedicated to this metaphor of the body and a book. And yeah, I mean, it is not. I enjoy the song, but this might be the standout Kiss hokey sex lyrics of the whole discography.
Yeah, and surprisingly, not my favorite cheesy lyric of the album on this song. There's another one that takes that cake. And another thing I forgot to say is when I was listening to it this time and that riff, I started thinking like, okay, maybe this is kind of Paul's version of rewriting Rock Candy by Montrose, because it kind of gave me a little bit of that feel with the riff and everything. Like, yeah, Rock Candy, which sadly does not even come close to Rock Candy, in my opinion, but I felt like maybe that's what he was kind of reaching for on this song. So we go to Love's a Slap in the Face, and this one's number 14 for me. Just a song that doesn't do anything. Another Gene song that just felt like a typical throwaway. And again, with the whole talk of demos, that this is one of them songs that does sound like it was just thrown in there. To me, it doesn't sound like it fits the flow of the album, as well as some of the other tracks. I'm not saying everything Gene put on here is bad, because like I said, Betrayed was cool, and there's some other Gene songs on here I enjoy that are coming up, but this one especially was one, just the whole nah 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 thing. Like, come on, write some words.
Yeah, this is 15 for me, absolutely. This is one of the songs in the album that just feels unfinished. Yeah. I mean, it's catchy, but there are no dynamics from start to finish, and I think the reason for that is the biggest issue with this song is that the drums are so obviously a drum machine and not Eric Carr. The drum beat never changes throughout the whole song. At one point, there's an egg shaker, but the actual drum beat literally never changes from the time it starts to the time the song fades out. It's not Eric Carr, it's a drum machine, and that is a slap in his face.
Absolutely.
I can't believe they thought this was okay. And I just don't know why they didn't let him play. I don't think that even if he had played on it, this would be one of my favorites on the album. But any actual drum track. Screw it, let Kevin Valentine play it even. Any actual drum track would have made this a better song.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's totally criminal. And, now we know that around this time is when things were actually getting a little rocky with Eric and, Gene and Paul. But, of course, back then, we were always meant to, believe that, oh, he was so happy and happy-go-lucky to be in Kiss and all this and that. Well, things like that are kind of gives you a sign right there that something wasn't quite right,
Yeah, absolutely.
Let alone the fact that, out of 15 songs, you throw his song next to last. You just throw it way down, towards the bottom of the barrel there. But yeah, it's a shame, man.
Yeah.
I think to this day they each kind of carry a bit of a regret, and because of the way things turned out, and I don't think they ever really truly got to resolve it the way they probably would have liked to.
Absolutely.
I mean, even not to trail too much off, but even when Paul went out on his solo tour and he chose to take a different drummer instead of Eric, because Kiss wasn't doing anything, obviously. And Eric was like, "I thought I was your drummer. I'm the drummer of Kiss. Why wouldn't it be me?" And he chooses to take out Singer, and there's that story where Eric told Eric Singer in the back in the dressing room that you're going to replace me one day, and Paul's like, "Oh, nonsense! You're my drum." And then look what happens.
Yeah, such a creepy, eerie story.
Richie says, "Read My Body is what I listen to when I get constipated. It's You Make Me Rock Hard, Crazy Uncle."
Good Lord.
I feel like Read My Body would make you constipated, though. I don't think it would really help.
Yeah.
Maybe Burn Bitch Burn. She got to get that log in the fireplace to help get it out there.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Ooh. So finally, we come to a great song, Forever. This is number one. I don't care, ballad or not. This is a fantastic song. Obviously, my favorite song on the album. Another one of Paul's greatest ballads. And again, to say this is kind of a big thing because you think of all the Kiss songs and what each guitar player brought to them. But Forever is my favorite Kiss guitar solo in any Kiss song. Like Bruce, just beautiful. I mean, he deserves 100 times more credit than he gets for this song just alone. The way he plays it, nobody else plays it in it. Close. If you listen to that horrible re-recording CD where they did this, Tommy doesn't nail it the way Bruce nails it. There's just something about the way Bruce plays it, and it's so freaking memorable, and you could just you could whistle to it, you could hum it. The same goes with the unplugged version. To me, it sounds just as good, if not better, than the album version. The way he plays it then, and even on the Live 3 for that matter. I mean, it just a perfect freaking solo, and that guitar he's playing it on just makes it sound so beautiful. And then of course got to give Paul some credit there with the vocals, and Eric, I love some of the fills he does in this song, and and of course the video, we got the video was cool, and it kind of sort of became Eric's I don't know what you'd want to say, like memorial song in a way. Like it kind of feels like people use the Forever video more as when they start talking about Eric as like a tribute, more so than the God Gave Rock and Roll to You video, which is kind of ironic. But
right,
this one seems like it's more. It's like this is Eric, So, but yeah, number one all the way this time, and hands down my favorite solo. And that's it's hard to say, but that really is now.
Nice. Yeah, totally agree. This is number 3 for me. I might go so far as to call this the ultimate ballad of all time, just for me, in my opinion. I think the song is beautifully orchestrated. The production style and the layering of everything they used. I know there's not an actual orchestra on this song. I mean, orchestrated in the sense of production. The mix of electric and acoustic guitars, especially, creates a mood and a sound that I, as a producer, have tried and failed to recreate about 100 times. It's just perfect. And man, the acoustic solo. I'm almost surprised that it wasn't an electric guitar solo with distortion. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad it wasn't. But I feel like that's more at Bruce's alley, and I wonder if he had the idea to do it acoustically, or if somebody mentioned, "Hey, maybe you should try something on the acoustic." Either way, absolutely genius.
Yeah.
And then also, much as I have several times on this show talked about how much I freaking hate when songs fade out, which, by the way, is almost every single song on this album. This fade out does not bother me at all. I love this fade out on this song. The ending of the song is so cool.
Yeah, you mentioned with orchestra. It's like, again, the Alive 4 version when they did it with the ensemble. Now, again, I know it's not Bruce, so it's not 100% perfect, but that was cool to hear them do it with that ensemble, and and it's Peter too. But anyway,
yeah,
it's still a respectable version.
Right.
Scott, thanks for giving us the rest of your votes there. We'll definitely get those tallied in. He also says the best concert out of Makeup that they did, bar none. Yeah, like I say, a lot of people talk big about that Hot in the Shade tour.
Absolutely. I might call that the best set piece. Leon the Sphinx was freaking classic. Yeah. I wish they would have done more stuff like that.
Yeah, that and the Statue of Liberty were like probably the only two interactive stage piece. Well, you can kind of say the spider for Monster, because it would kind of come. But as far as what Leon and the Statue of Liberty would do during the shows, I mean, I wish they would have done more stuff like that.
I will live and die by how cool it is that Leon sang the third verse of God of Thunder.
Yes.
My God, that is one of the coolest things in a concert I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. And see, like, as soon as people talk about the Hot in the Shade tour, that's my immediate mental image is Leon and those freaking lasers and everything just shooting out. Like, that's the image I get every time someone mentions that tour. All right, moving on here, we got Silver Spoon. And this is my number 15. We talked about the Kissettes. Again, just totally unnecessary. Really killed the song for me. At first, I was kind of enjoying it. Like, it's not too bad. It's another one of those sort of stand up for yourself type songs in a way. But that just completely killed it. I'm like, it doesn't fit the song whatsoever. Again, doesn't fit the album, and it's like, you're trying to rekindle something from like the solo albums basically, and this time on a Paul song nonetheless. So, it was just that bad.
What did you say? 15?
Yeah.
Okay.
They
would have been on Animalize, right?
Yeah, 85 would have been Animalize tour. Hey, Kiss and Tell, there he is. What's up, man? Good to see you, brother. It's been a long time.
Yes. Got a busy comment section today. That's awesome.
I love it.
All right. Silver Spoon was 11 for me. The lyrical content of this song is just generally weird, I guess. Very strange. This one and Cadillac Dreams both, I feel kind of similarly towards the lyrics. They're just kind of weird. I like the feel of Silver Spoon. It's nice, neat, upbeat, and energetic again. The main riff gives me just a touch of an early Kiss feeling. Not the whole thing, but most of it. And I'd be kind of interested to hear if someone would go back and do like a cover of this song, but with a different album's production style. I would be really interested to hear this one with like a Rock and Roll Over or a Love Gun production style, just out of curiosity.
Right.
But yeah, the female vocals near the end, they're unexpected. They come completely out of left field. Weird. I don't mind the main thing that they're doing. I don't feel they're necessary, but like the almost gospel style solo vocalist that's also female that's on top of the background singers does bother me.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. That's the part that really just drives home the all right, come on. Like, so weird with the scatting. I mean, at least it could have been Paul scatting on top of it to kind of tie it together, but yeah. So not horrible, but not my favorite either.
Scott Scott Carolina said he saw both The Hot and Shade and Revenge, and he agrees both those stage shows were freaking phenomenal.
Nice.
Savannah, your mom is a very lucky person. She saw that Animalized tour. Dokken opened for them, and that was her first concert. Very cool.
Nice.
Speaking of Silver Spoon, Scott says it is the first song he heard off of the album. It was a single, he thinks. The first single or the second. It may have been, I think it was maybe a B-side on one of the singles, if I'm not mistaken. I know it wasn't a main single.
Yeah, that would have been dumb if they would have made that one of the main singles. Good Lord.
Yeah, I feel like it may have been a B-side, something along those lines. Because I feel like there were almost as many singles as there were off Crazy Nights from this album. All right, next we have Cadillac Dreams. This one's number 11. I will say, though, I thought, at first when the song started, I'm like, this is a pretty cheesy Gene song. But I will say, to give it a positive, that I did find the chorus to be, fairly catchy. It wasn't too bad. I thought it definitely helped kind of save the song. Because I was honestly ready to put this as my number 15, but the chorus at least kind of saved it for me. And, and again, like, it comes down to a lot of these songs are, again, I don't hate anything, but they're just songs that I never really listen to normally. So listening to the album again, it's almost like I'm hearing them some of these songs for the first time again, because I probably haven't listened to them since the last time we did this album. So it's, definitely almost like hearing it for the first time all over again. So, but yeah, that's where it stands for me this time.
Yep, 14 for me. Yeah, Chris, yeah.
I can't remember COVID or when I first heard the album.
Oh my God. This comment section is bumming me out. Gosh. Nasty day at work. I was excited to come home and listen to some music, and everybody hates it.
You got to read Chris's body.
Apparently, yeah. So 14 on this one. I guess Gene is honest about his intentions, at least. This song has just never caught me that well. I feel like Prisoner of Love better uses that syncopated, bouncy rhythm. The song gets really repetitive near the end. I do enjoy that it tells a story. It tells a good story. I got tired of the line when I turned 17, and I can't believe only Gene Simmons could use the line, "I want money, money more than I need," and it not be a joke.
I mean, wouldn't it have been cooler if the song was at least like kind of an homage to, when Kiss went to Cadillac, Michigan, and, back when that whole thing happened, like, if it was sort of something to kind of do with that, like as kind of a thank you to those people after all these years, but no.
Yeah, no, it's just about give me money. Give me money. Give me money.
Give me
we
money.
already knew it.
Hurry up and buy. Let's see. Scott says if they never have been able to pull off female vocals on anything they have done, I agree. Well, True Confessions is cool. I got to give that credit. But other than that, yeah. And Richie definitely agrees that COVID was worse than hearing this album for the first time.
Jeez.
See, I can picture Leon wearing a huge mask on stage if they were using that today.
Oh, yes.
Jeez. King of Hearts, number 13. That's really all it comes down to for this. I really didn't have anything memorable about this song, and thought it was just fairly out of place. Didn't kind of lost interest in it. So that's it.
Yeah, this is 7 for me. I feel like this is Paul's underrated track for me, at least on this album. Something about this song kind of makes me want to call it a sister song to Heart of Chrome. There are interesting similarities and interesting differences between the two of them. But I love the melody and the harmonies on the whole song. The whole thing is really catchy. I put in my notes that I really loved Eric Carr's drum performance, and then read that it was Kevin Valentine. So I guess good for you, Kevin. The drum part is pretty good.
Oh, Lord. Well, at least it wasn't the electric drums, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Any real drummer is better than a drum machine.
I picture them like tying Eric to a chair and forcing him to watch Kevin play the drums. Like, this could be you, but we're just, for no reason, going to let Kevin play the drums on this.
Ha-ha!
I don't know. Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell by far is the rockin' first song to Scott on the album. He thinks he might be the only one on the planet that probably picked that as number one. Maybe not, man. I mean, hard to say. We are getting close to that song, but first up we have The Street Giveth and The Street Taketh Away. This one comes in at number 7 for me. Hear Me Out, There's Reasons. I know I've heard a lot of people make the jokes about this song, but you know what? For me, it's always kind of had that special spot because, okay, I had the cassette single for Forever, and on the B-side was this song. And this was before the album came out, and I used to just flip and play each side of the tape over and over, each song, Forever and Street Giveth. So this song just grew on me so much because I played it so much until I got the actual album. And so it's kind of like, it kind of comes down to that, like having those little special memories. And, I actually do still have the cassette single, but, still kind of having those memories of that time and listening to it. But for the song itself, I personally don't think that, the chorus is that bad. I think it's pretty catchy. I like the kind of higher harmony vocals there during the chorus, and I think it's a fairly underrated Gene song. Again, I might not put it in my top 20 Gene songs, but it is fairly underrated. I feel like it's a little bit better song than a lot of people might give it credit for.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This one came in at number 9 for me, but yeah, honestly, I think this is one of my favorite choruses on the whole album. I'm surprised to hear people dislike it.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, and I want to stress that this is not negative. I love the intro of this song just because it's so weird.
Yeah.
The intro of this song, and I promise I wrote this down in my notes because I wouldn't forget. The intro of this song is kind of like getting slapped in the face with a fish. It's weird, it's confusing, and it's not necessarily pleasant, but you really want to tell people about it afterward.
So loves the slap in the face with a fish.
Yes, now you know.
Knowing's half the battle. All right. Next is "You Love Me to Hate You," number 10 for me. And I pointed out for me that this was a really great chorus from Paul. Probably, close, probably third or so favorite chorus from Paul on the album. I thought it was definitely very well sung, and he's kind of hitting those high points, and little catchy there. So it, even though it's number 10, it definitely caught me. Caught a little more attention from me this time than what I remember listening last time we did the album. Of course, I say that, and it was probably like the same number last time.
It was 11. It was 11 last time for you.
It earned one extra spot this time.
Woo!
It only took like 2 years or whatever it's been.
You're right, yeah. This one jumped up 2 spots for me. This is 13 for me this time. And it's because I went into this knowing what I dislike about it, and therefore was able to admit that it is a really good song, other than what totally ruins it for me. And horribly ironically, it's Paul's vocals in the chorus. I absolutely cannot stand the way he sings this chorus. I like the music of the song. I like the melody. I like the harmony. I hate his delivery. I think this is where it becomes detrimental, that the songs are essentially just fancy demos. His vocals on the chorus, I think, should have been sung a time or two more, or maybe even doubled up to get a thicker sound. To me, the takes on this chorus feel just like Gene's high vocals in Betrayed and Prisoner of Love. They feel strained and rushed, like First Pass, and it's good enough. And it makes me think this. I really considered making this 15 again until I realized how much more horrible it is that they use drum machines on other songs. Yeah, this is definitely not one of my favorite Kiss songs.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe it was because I was eating Girl Scout cookies at the time, and I was just on like a bit of a high.
There
So
you go.
it sounded better to me than I really realized.
Yeah.
All right. Coming into another paragraph of a song title, Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell. Number 8 for me. So sorry there, Scott. I know it's one for you, but still a good song. I'm not giving it any crap. Number 8. Another cool Gene, kind of a ballad for Gene. I felt like this song could have been on Crazy Nights. To me, it almost feels like it would have fit better on Crazy Nights. And because to me, it's like Gene's answer to Reason to Live, somewhat. That's kind of the song I always sort of, associate it with, per se. So, yeah, a cool song. Another catchy kind of chorus. Sometimes I think you want to, but I can never tell. Very cool the way Gene delivers it. Kind of more of the I don't know, laid back Gene type tone or whatever. Whatever you want to say. But yeah, cool song. 8.
Definitely. Yeah, this is 6 for me. And you know what? I would really like to hear this song with the Psycho Circus production.
Ooh, yeah.
I keep pushing songs out to other albums, but this song has that epic quality that I feel like that big, huge, heavy Psycho Circus production would have really benefited.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I could even hear orchestra on this. Like, it would have been interesting to hear them do this on a live floor. I think this song could have been an epic. And while I like it here on Hot in the Shade, I'm not sure the production does it as good a justice as it could have. Maybe is the way to put it. The only other little tick on this song that puts it down a bit on my list is I'm fairly certain again that this is a drum machine and not Eric, which is just disappointing.
Yeah, it does definitely kind of sound that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another one of the things that kind of makes you wish that they would just release the whole catalog in multi-track form, so all of us fans can tinker around and make it sound like this album or whatever. It'd be so fun and cool to see what everybody would come up with. listening to different mixes.
Definitely.
Next is Little Caesar. Like we said before, they pushed it all the way down to second to last song. Number 2 for me. God, why did they not give Eric Carr a song on at least every album? And again, why did this song get thrown down towards the bottom? To me, this song is so much better than most of the stuff that Gene put on here, most of the stuff that Paul put on here. I mean, other than your big singles, I felt like this one would have been a cool video, or maybe probably even a single, but I could almost picture a video for it. And, they definitely should have done it live more. I think they only really ever did it in like sound checks, if I'm not mistaken, from what I read. I'm not sure if they ever actually performed it live officially, just sound checks, but they should have. And no, it's not like Eric's like greatest track when it comes to drumming, but it's the vocals. Love the way he sings the song. Definitely makes up for forcing him to do Beth, which he was not a fan of. And it's just such a catchy song too. I love it. I've probably been going to this song more often lately if I play something off this album, between this and Forever probably. Yeah, just great song for Eric. And again, there should have been many more, and this song should have been way up. If anything, at least let it open side 2 or something. Don't throw it down so far.
Yeah, absolutely. This one came in at number 8 for me, and yeah, only 9 years late, guys.
Yeah.
Come on. Especially reading, when I read online that this is the first Kiss album since The Elder to have a lead vocal besides Paul and Gene. Like, it kind of angered me all over again. It's like, man, the lead vocal on this song proves that Eric is just as good, if not better, than either Peter or Ace.
Mm-hmm.
And they waited till their last album with him, not that they knew that, to let him have one. And it also makes me think this is a great song, and it fits the style of this album really well. But I'm curious what he would have come up with if he had a song on every single Kiss album that he was on.
Yeah.
What would have changed about what he would have written at this point if he had already had several under his belt? I'm curious.
And it's almost like they didn't want to acknowledge that he was that good of a songwriter and musician. I mean, because and again, now it's after the fact, but we have a couple albums worth of material of things that he did, which probably could have easily fit on any of those albums. And then you even think back to when they did the whole unmasking thing on MTV, and they even went out of their way to say, oh, by the way, Kiss is the first band that Eric Carr has ever been in. Bullshit.
Exactly. Yeah.
And again, back then, maybe that was easier to get over people's heads, but nowadays, no. We know that Eric was in a handful of bands prior to Kiss. He did have an extent of success, kind of like Peter did, with a couple of the bands. Even though it wasn't rock music, it was still, he was experiencing some success, and and that's the kind of crap that I think they were trying to. It was almost like they were trying to ignore it, like, because he obviously did have experience and could write, but it's like, oh no, you're supposed to believe that this is his first band, and he's just this, again, happy-go-lucky guy, and oh, we'll give him this song here and there, and oh, he'll sing Beth, and it'll be so great. And I don't know. As years go on, I get a little more pissed off about it when I think about it. Just the way they kind of treat him in the long run towards those last few years of his life. And I don't know. It's like I say, listen to those CDs that came out of stuff that Eric did, and you could have put any of them songs, I'm sure, on any of these albums through the years, and maybe even two songs on some albums, like Ace and Peter had in the past.
Right.
So yeah, it comes down to that. But so last song, Boomerang, and this one is number 4 for me. What a way to end the album. Again, this maybe would have been I don't know about beginning the album, but at least put it up there again, like open side 2. Let's open side 2 with a banger like this as well. Probably maybe the best performance on the album as far as the drums and guitar. It's another. I don't want to say it's like No No No, but there are little elements at times that kind of remind you of it, where they just kind of go on those rampant speed runs, and so just another classic song that I feel kind of gets underrated because of the album that it's on, and it's kind of sad. It's pretty good.
Richie's on a rampage.
Album's so full of so much love it should be called Strawberry Field, but it's also full of so much garbage it should be called Landfill.
Woo. Yes. So for once on a Kiss album, I've saved my number 1 till last.
Ah.
This is it, and to all the haters, screw you. This song is killer. Screw you. The song is killer. I won't say it a third time. It's in the notes 3 times, but I think you got it. The drum work is perfect. The riff is cool. Maybe a little too quiet in the mix. Gene's harmonies in the chorus are awesome. It's not even the same every time it happens, which is really interesting. Bruce's leads throughout the song are, throughout the whole song, they're cool. But the actual guitar solo is, for me personally, maybe Bruce's standout moment of his entire Kiss career. I remember the moment I heard this song as a kid. Now, I've mentioned this in several episodes past, that I have weird nostalgia for Kiss songs because my dad is such a big fan of just mixes. He likes mixing all the different eras and all the different songs and stuff. So I have a similar nostalgia for Christine 16 as I do for this song, which is weird. And as a kid, I had no idea that it wasn't even just the same guys doing it. I had no idea that there was a no makeup period. This was just a Kiss song to me. But specific to the nostalgia, I remember the moment I heard this guitar solo and just actually... Jeez! I remember hearing this and being dumbfounded, and also reminded of the Batman game for the NES at the time. I still remember that to this day, feeling like that the tappy guitar part right near the beginning of the solo sounds like an NES game. And it's so cool. And I will admit, I'll give it to anybody. This isn't Kiss's best song. It just isn't. Not by a long shot, but I love the song I always have. I love the speed metal feel, and I love how surprisingly well they pulled something like that off. Mm-hmm. And yeah, what a perfect way to end the album. One of 2 songs on this album that has an ending.
Yeah, it's definitely a smoker. It's just unfortunate. And so the song should have been called Battering, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, to harp back on the Eric Carr thing, I forgot to say, and then, so then he's gone and Revenge comes out. So what do? Instead of another song that Eric sings to honor him, they put on Car Jam. Just, now, don't get me wrong, I love that, obviously. I'm glad it's out. But would I have rather had a song with Eric singing? Yeah, you bet. Hell, I'd rather had a song with Eric singing and then put Car Jam afterwards or whatever, Do
Yeah.
is it that big of a deal to spare one extra song to pay that little extra, tribute to Eric? My God. I mean, every time I look at you, yeah, it's a cool song, but it doesn't touch forever for me. I'd have rather just kept that song off the album and gave an extra spot to, paying tribute to Eric.
Yeah, I don't know why they couldn't give an extra track. I mean, this album had 15.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that wraps up the album then. So overall rankings here, I give this album a 5, and obviously, as you're probably going to hear a lot of it does come down to the overall mastering. And again, I'm going by the vinyl version. It's like when I was playing this album, like I literally had to turn my stereo up louder than I do any other records that I listen to, because it's just that low of an album, and I cannot stand that. Like I just wish it had that loudness and hit you in the chest kind of feel that so many of their other albums have. And and for some reason, even when the CD came out, they didn't fix that either. So I just don't know why. And if only they would have added more of the low end to the kick drum, especially, and then get that bass guitar in the mix better, and then just raise the volume. But that's another problem with it, and I think is another reason why it's so low volume, is because they crammed 15 songs on one freaking record. There's like 8 songs on one side, so you barely got any dead wax left. And when you cram that many songs and the grooves are that much smaller, yeah, it's going to take away from the quality, and it's not going to be as loud and boisterous as it should be. So that's really the main thing it came down to. And again, some of the songs that just didn't feel like it fit with the album. And I've never been a big proponent of the people that say, oh, it's just an album full of demos and blah 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 blah, because when it comes down to it, there's other albums that are like that too. To me, there's plenty of songs on here that aren't just throwaway demo songs, but I hate that there are some on here, and that's another reason it gets such a low vote. And I'm going to stop there so I don't start going into my true confessions.
Right. I went with 6. I gave this album a 6. And yeah, this is a bit of a polarizing album. I absolutely loved Lick It Up, Animalize, and Asylum. Crazy Nights had a lot of strong points, and I think this one does too. But it also has a very unpolished, unfinished feel to it as a collective.
Yeah.
And I know that was kind of their intention. They wanted a stripped down rock album, and I feel like they didn't really get that. They didn't do a stripped down rock album. They did a stripped down care about it album. When I found out years ago that this album was mostly just demos that they polished up, I wasn't surprised at all. A lot of the songs show it, and honestly, I'm not really sure why they thought that would be okay. They've said in interviews that they should have had a producer. Paul shouldn't have been the one to produce it. They should have had a producer. There didn't need to be 15 tracks, and they needed somebody to come in and say, look, some of these songs need more work. And yeah, I see it because I think every song on here is good in a way, but there's just too much in there too. Something a producer could have maybe fixed. Having said all of that, though, I think there are a lot of positives here. Now, I don't know if somebody must have done some sort of remix or remaster. I realized when I went to do this today that I didn't have all of my Kiss albums here with me, so I downloaded a version of this from iTunes, and I thought the production was fine. I could hear everything really clearly. The bass was really clear throughout the whole thing, and loud, which of course was one of the big things about Crazy Nights. The bass frequencies are gone. The guitar sound absolutely killer, and at times really really heavy, which is cool. The drums are okay. I think they're good. Of course, Eric did a killer job on the ones he played. Uh, but even the songs that he did play on still have that kind of 80s drum machine sound to them,
Hmm.
which I'm not sure. It's okay, but it doesn't stand up against Asylum. You know, it does. Think about the beginning of King of the Mountain and put that up against the sound of anything on this album. Come on, guys, just.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I read that they did that on purpose. That some of his drums on this were even recorded on an electronic drum set because they knew some of the demos had that sound. And I don't get it. I think that's why they were able to use such a small studio too. They didn't have to bring his whole drums in there. Yeah, there's too many songs on the album, but similar to how we talked about Crazy Nights, I kind of have trouble picking songs that shouldn't be on there. Like I do agree there should be a more concise track listing, but again, the problem is that all of the songs have good qualities. None of them are bad enough to dismiss entirely, but just as a collective, the album feels a bit too long. It feels like it meanders around the meh sections. And I feel like that makes the average listener, they're probably not paying close enough attention to find some of the gems that are here.
Yeah, the that iTunes version, I think those were generally remastered for iTunes, but still not, what exactly we want though. Yeah, they do sound a bit better than your, CD versions or whatever, maybe, but and it's close. It's real close to be honest. But yeah, it's still because like Hotter Than Hell. It's not like they magically fix the stuff that we've talked about. They just kind of. But yeah, but I don't know. I just don't understand. Like even back when they did the remasters, like on CD, why Hot in the Shade was not part of it. I just don't get it.
Right.
Scott says Eric is the best drummer they ever had. Eric Carr. Peter is his favorite, but Eric was by far the best. Have to agree, man. Yeah, Robbie Stars, what's up, man? Best part of Hits is Bruce Kulick. His playing saves the songs, even Read My Body. But no, half the album is really good. Yeah, totally. Totally agree with that. All right, true confession time.
Won't you give me true confessions? True confessions. True confessions.
All right, true confessions. You guys in the chat, we want to hear yours now.
I think we've already heard them.
Yeah, do we want to hear them?
Yeah, we've been looking at them the whole time. We get it.
Nah, keep them coming, guys. We love it. So I'm hoping I don't forget anything that I've had swirling in my head this whole time. I don't want to hopefully forget. Okay, so I hate that I had to only give this album a 5 because this album does hold a special place for me because it's the first album that I remember buying when it came out. Like I actually remember, I had it on cassette. Still have the cassette. I haven't. It's not the same one that I originally bought, but I always remember getting the cassette of it and putting the single to rest for forever and playing the hell out of this album. And and it's like, as much as it has a special feeling or a special place for me, at the same time, I feel like that this album has officially probably become my least favorite Kiss album. I hate to say, and like I said, a lot of it just has to do with the songs that I just felt don't belong, and and that production. Again, it's not. I don't hate the songs. Again, I gotta be clear about that. I don't hate them, but it just doesn't fit for me. It's not as easy to sit and listen to the whole album as like Crazy Nights. I always said, for some reason, I always think Crazy Nights has a lot of songs like Hot in the Shade. But with Crazy Nights, it was a lot easier to listen to the full album, and before you know it, you're almost wanting more songs. But like kind of like what you were saying with this album, it's almost like it is too much. You're almost like, whoa, like we don't need 15 songs on this album, even though it seemed like a good thing at the time. But yeah, I just hate that I have to rank it that low, and that it's kind of become my least favorite album, and because it does hold that spot, and and I think that was pretty much it. I don't think I'm forgetting anything here. If it pops in my head, I'll mention it later, but that's kind of the main beef of it there.
For sure. I am angry about this album for Eric Carr.
Yeah.
I don't know how he felt about it after it was released. I hope he didn't. I hope he wasn't mad. I hope he didn't hate this, of course. But I also kind of hope he fought them on some of the absolutely ridiculous decisions that they made, specifically concerning his involvement. First of all, it's an absolute shame that they waited till his last album. Again, not that they knew that at the time, to let him have a lead vocal on an original song. He did so good on Little Caesar. Where was his voice on the earlier albums? Why, you can't convince me that they were like, let's not let him do this. He sucks.
Yeah.
No way. He didn't suck, and they freaking knew it. This was before auto-tune was normalized. He did that for real, and it's great. And finally, good God, Kiss had one of the most indisputed, best rock drummers of the era, proved himself time and time again as an amazing, dedicated member of the band. And not only did you let some other guy play 2 of the songs, but you left drum machines on 2 of the songs? Why wouldn't they let Eric replace those drums with an actual drum part? You can't possibly convince me that he didn't hear those songs and he was just like, yeah, that's fine. No way. Absolutely no. What, again, I say, what a slap in his face that they did that. And maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe he heard him and he was like, yeah, whatever. Maybe he was totally cool with it and everything was cool. And honestly, I hope that was the case, just for the sake of, I don't wish there to be hate in the world, you know what I mean? But like,
Right.
It makes me so mad to think what those songs might have been.
Yeah.
But Kiss, of all bands, Kiss, who always claims they're for the fans, would think that it's okay to put out a song, an official song, not a demo, an official song with a drum machine instead of their drummer.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Right. Yeah, it's like we say, obviously we're diehard Kiss fans. They mean so much to me, but again, we don't sit here and blow smoke up their ass and think everything that they've ever done is the right choice, because this is one of them that it's just like, when it comes down to it, the ego is what got in the way. And it's another case of, well, you shouldn't have treated him that way, and now next thing you know, it's too late, and you didn't know it, but you shouldn't have done it in the first place. So, you gotta think things like that. And it's just, it's annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, like, that's one of the biggest things about it too, is we'll never get that book that tells these kind of stories and how he truly felt. We just get to hear stories from Paul and everybody else, and whether it's true or not, or whether they're bending truth or not, we don't know, because unfortunately it's not beyond them to do that. And it sucks to say that. But, everybody talks about Tommy and Singer and Vinny or Bruce putting out books. And yeah, don't get me wrong, that'd be cool. But man, I wish we could have had a book from Eric Carr.
Right.
Something more, but I feel like the closest thing we would ever get to that is like if his girlfriend put out a book and maybe told stories of what she knew at the time, something like that. But I mean, even that to an extent would it'd still not be enough, but I guess it would be the closest thing to ever hearing him, actually say it if he hasn't said anything in past interviews that that we don't know about or anything like that. But of course he was only going to say certain things to an extent in the interviews. He wasn't going to truly give his 100% thoughts and feelings, but we could tell there were certain feelings here and there with some of the interviews that you might watch, and especially from around those time frames.
Right.
So, all right. So, do we have this final tally ready?
Indeed we do. So let's take a look here. So, of course, you guys have seen our entire rankings. We're also counting in votes from Robbie. Robbie gave us his votes in the comments of the last episode. He gave this album a 7.5, and his top 3, Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell, You Love Me to Hate You, and Betrayed. We've also got Scott Besnell, Carolina Hard Rock here's votes. Let's see. His top 3, Prisoner of Love, Rise to It, and Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell. And he gave this album a 3.5. We got votes from Steve McGowan, who gave this album a 7. His top 3, Forever, Betrayed, and Hide Your Heart. We've also got Rochelle McGowan, who gave this album a 7. Her top 3, Read My Body. Where's number 2? Forever and Hide Your Heart. Then we got all the votes from last time we did this. Mine, I gave this album a 6. And my top 3 were Betrayed, Boomerang, and Prisoner of Love. Eli, yours last time, you gave this a 7. And your top 3, Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell, Hide Your Heart, and Forever. My dad gave this album a 2. His top 3, Boomerang, Rise to It, and Forever. Steve McGowan from last time gave this a 7. His top 3, Forever, Hide Your Heart, and King of Hearts was number 1 last time. This is a lot of songs to try and find.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Javier Boster last time gave this an 8. His top 3, King of Hearts, Hide Your Heart, and Betrayed. Jay Rucker last time gave this album a 3.5. His top 3 were Rise to It, Little Caesar, and Hide Your Heart. Robbie Stars last time gave this a 7. His top 3, Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell, Little Caesar, and Hide Your Heart. Aaron Philpott gave this an 8. His top 3, Loves the Slap in the Face, Prisoner of Love, and Betrayed. Rochelle McGowan last time gave this a 6, and her top 3, King of Hearts, Hide Your Heart, and Forever. Gianni Ottaviani gave this album a 6. His top 3, Little Caesar, Betrayed, and Boomerang as number 1. Mark Middlecoff, who was actually a guest last time we did this episode.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Gave this album a 7. His top 3, King of Hearts, Cadillac Dreams, and Betrayed. Of course, Cadillac Dreams for Gino. That doesn't surprise me.
To this day, he still every now and then gives me that, never asked me to be on. Like, you're welcome to come back anytime. You just tell me when you want to come on.
Exactly. Exactly. Jay's dad gave this album a 3. Jacob Hicks gave this album a 5.5. Thomas, Rain in Adamstown, last time gave this album a 6. And his top 3 were Prisoner of Love, Rise to It, and Betrayed. So that's what we got counting in here. So putting all that together, this album did get a 6.0 average overall rating, which isn't too bad. Sticks it pretty near the bottom of our list. Actually, I closed that page already. Please, God, tell me that this is not lower than the Peter Criss album. I swear, if this has if this average overall is less than the Peter, okay.
It might be.
Yeah, I feel like Peter's is at like 6.2 or something. Man, guys, I couldn't possibly disagree more with that. In 15th place, dead last for this time, is You Love Me to Hate You. In 14th place, Silver Spoon. In 13th place, Read My Body. In 12th place, Cadillac Dreams. 11th place, Love's a Slap in the Face. In 10th place, The Street Giveth and the Street Taketh Away. 9th place, King of Hearts. In 8th place, Boomerang. In 7th place, Prisoner of Love. 6th place, Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell. In 5th place, Little Caesar. Making our top 4 for this album. In 4th place, Rise to It. In 3rd place, Hide Your Heart. In 2nd place, Forever. And in 1st place, Betrayed.
Wow. Very cool. I just noticed it looks like Julian Gill had done a book, the album Focus, what is it, 83 to 96, so definitely gives a little insight on Hot in the Shade. Might be interested to pick that up and see what it talks about.
Yeah.
Let's see. Scott says the whole band except Paul hated this in his book. He says when he was in a car crash, no one even asked about him after that. Didn't even ask how he was doing. Wasn't talking to him. Was that Eric, I believe, was in a car crash? Is that what you mean? I'm pretty sure. And then we also have a true confession from Scott. He says that anyone that hates this era can blame Paul Stanley.
Yeah. Definitely wasn't Paul's idea to polish up the demos. It was Gene.
Yeah.
It was Gene and Eric that scouted the tiny little studio too.
Like I see what he's trying to say, but at the same time, you kind of need to thank Paul for this error because their Make Kiss may have disappeared if it wasn't for Paul.
Yeah, if Paul hadn't. Absolutely.
I think that's yet another reason he decided to jump out and do a solo tour, and because he needed something to kind of get away and vent, and get it all out.
Absolutely.
David Smith, how's it going? 8 of 10. So he gives the album an 8. His top 3 are Cadillac Dreams, Rush to It, and Prisoner.
Nice.
Cool, man.
Nice. Good to see those weird ones up near the top.
Yeah. All right, everybody. So that's going to wrap it up for Hot in the Shade. Again, we thank you all for stopping by and chatting with us, having a good time. So next week, of course, is Revenge. And we should be having at least a guest or 2 on there. I'm not sure. I think 1 for sure, but the other one's still a maybe. So tune in for that. And if anyone wants to come on, let us know. We're welcome to have you on. More the merrier. Richie Slime, we need to get you on, man. Your opinions and stuff. I'd like to hear it on the show. So it'd be interesting to have you on. Oh, you're right, David. He said Eric's girlfriend did just put out a book. You're right. I feel like I did remember hearing that, but I wonder if she talks much about, the innards of Kiss, or if it's just more about their relationship.
Absolutely.
Carrie Stevens. Yeah. Let's see. Says unrated Carrie's memoir, Revelations of a Rock and Roll Centerfold. Yeah, I just might have to get her book and see what she does talk about.
Definitely would be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for reminding me, David. I totally forgot. I thought I had heard something recently that she put a book out. Savannah is going to be back for Revenge, she said. Hopefully. One of her favorite albums, definitely. So hopefully we're going to have a fairly packed guest, what do you call it, dais here, if all of our other guests come back. So we'll be looking forward to Revenge for next week. As always, get those votes in. Go over to the Facebook page, get the votes in on the live poll that is now going on. Definitely some interesting matchups already. So until then, yeah, Three Sides had her on. Yeah, I thought I saw that. Did meet her at the expo a couple years back, but
Yeah.
definitely before she did this book. But yeah, I'm definitely going to have to order it. So, all right. Well, that's going to do it. Thanks again, everyone. Everyone stay safe and warm. I know if you're kind of out on the East Coast here where we are, we got more snow coming our way, supposedly. So everyone stay safe and all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys next week, and can't wait to hang out for Revenge. All right. That's going to do it. Take it easy.